Voting. Okay, welcome to the Conservation Commission meeting for August 21st, 2024. In accordance with the requirements of the open meetings law, please be advised that this meeting is being audio. Oops, I didn't start my recording. Let's start that again from the top. Okay, welcome to the Conservation Commission meeting of August 21st, 2024. In accordance with the requirements of the open meetings law, please be advised that this meeting is being audio and video recorded. The agenda lists all of the topics which may be discussed at the meeting and those that are reasonably anticipated by the chair. Votes may be taken as a result of these discussions. Not all items listed may in fact be discussed, and other items not listed may also be brought up for discussion to the extent permitted by the open meeting law. Please address all comments through the chair. The meeting, this meeting of the Conservation Commission is being held by Zoom at the link provided in the published agenda. The meeting ID is 853-4264-2104. And if anybody is dialed in via live streaming, I would encourage you to go to the town website and download the agenda, and the Zoom link is clickable there.
Madam Chair?
Yes.
I think you said 04 and it should be 02, the last two digits of the meeting ID.
Okay, let me say it again then. Thank you for that, Mike. The meeting ID is 853-4264-2102. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to start out with a roll call vote. Jenny?
Present.
Rich?
Present.
Jeff is not going to be able to join us tonight. Mike?
Present.
Chris?
Present.
And then we currently have a vacancy. We've not filled Bob Pease's seat yet. So if anybody that's joining us tonight is interested or knows of someone who is interested in joining us as Conservation Commissioner, please forward that information to my attention. Okay. Do we have any announcements by members of the commission?
Yes. I noticed that Jenny's is listed as her term expiring June 2024 on the website. Is that correct? Or is that a typo? I thought she just started. Okay.
That's not correct.
Okay.
Yeah. Sophie, can you get that corrected for us? I think you were just commissioned, Jenny. Is that right?
I was until I think 2027. Is that how long it is?
That's
3
what I
years,
thought.
yeah. Thanks for pointing that out, Chris.
No
I can
problem.
reach out. I can reach out to Kara to have that changed.
Thank you. And do we have any comments from members of the public? As a reminder, comments are limited to 3 minutes and they must be on a subject that's under the direct jurisdiction of the commission. Comments about current agenda topics are supposed to be made during the comment period of that specific agenda item. The protocol tonight, as in all nights, is for members of the public to state their name and address when called upon to speak. Carolyn, you have your hand raised.
Hi, my name is Carolyn Palo. I live over at 42 Meadow Lane, and I had just shared a concern with Sophia in person about a week or two ago regarding a violation that's been going on for several years and continuing on. So I just wanted, she asked and invited me to the meeting, so that's why I'm here.
Okay, thank you, Carolyn. We usually do violations towards the end of the agenda.
Okay.
So I'll invite you to speak then. Okay, Sophie, you actually have that on the agenda, that address on the agenda for the violations area too. Thank you.
Thank you.
Very good. And Carolyn seems to be well versed in Zoom. For other members of the public, I know everybody comes from different walks of life. And depending on your Zoom interface, you may find either at the top of your window or at the bottom of your window, either a reactions icon or a raise hand icon. And so if you do raise that, I will call on you. And certainly if you can't figure out how to do that, or for some reason is not visible on your device, you'll wave your hand at me or just speak up. And even if it's not your turn to talk, I'll acknowledge you, and then we'll circle back to you when it is your time. Okay. So, Sophie, I was out last week. Have we received any meeting minutes from Jane? I don't recall seeing any.
I believe August 7th was forwarded. Pretty recently, last week, last Thursday. Jenny.
Jenny, yes.
I did receive that on Monday of last week. For 8/7.
Very good. And then do I have a motion to approve those?
So moved.
Second,
And was that Rich that gave the original motion?
Yes, it was.
Thank you, Rich. So roll call vote, Chris,
Aye.
Jenny,
aye.
Mike,
Aye.
Rich,
Aye.
and I for myself. Okay, thank you. And I don't see any appointment hearings for tonight on the agenda. Sophie, have we had any additional requests for continuances?
I did get confirmation that 390 Howard Street wants to continue to September 4th, which is the next meeting.
Okay. Yeah, and that's already annotated as such.
Yes, I didn't get any since I put the agenda together.
Okay, very good. Then we'll move along. New public hearings pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 131, Section 40 is amended, and the Town of Lunenburg Wetlands Protection and Municipal Bylaws. A public hearing on a request for determination of applicability by Justin Rapucci for the proposal of a driveway replacement with grading along with a sewer connection to the town sewer line, which is located within the buffer zone of a bordering vegetative wetland and intermittent stream at 1147 Mass Ave. And do we have Justin and or his representative here with us tonight?
Yes, I'm here.
Yes, I'm here as well. Bob Proctor, 99 Pleasant Street.
Thank you. And so does one of you want to share your screen and talk us through the proposal?
Sure, I can do it. Hopefully you have a copy of a plan that we propose to fill in the driveway. Does anybody have a copy of that with them? I know that there was a drawing that was done and passed in. So the driveway itself is lower than Mass Ave, and there was a berm that was put around.
In just a minute, Bob,
Yeah.
do we have that that somebody can share so we could follow along with him as he narrates it?
Madam Chair, I do have a couple of materials that I can pull up.
That would be great. Thank you.
As soon as you see the material, let me know and I'll continue along.
Yep,
Okay.
I'm going to share the screen. I just have to toggle back and forth between a couple
Okay.
of different tabs. And trying to figure out how to rotate this because it was sent this way. If anyone has any tips on rotating, possibly downloading.
That looks good.
Yeah, that looks pretty good.
So as you can see, the driveway is marked, the house 1147. There's a berm to the left of the driveway that's probably 4 to 4.5 feet higher than the driveway. There was a drainage ditch that's been there forever that drains all the water from the football field, the middle school, the new high school, and it has silted in some since it was put in, 40 years ago. So what we're proposing to do is to fill his driveway up to the top of that berm. What's happening now is the water that either comes over the drainage swale and all the water that's around his house and Mass Ave all comes down his driveway and has no place to go other than into his basement. So there's been times when there's been 2 and 3 feet of water in his basement. So we're proposing to remove the asphalt that's there now, fill in the driveway to the same dimensions that the driveway is now, to the top of the berm, and then put some regrinds down to eliminate the water from puddling there and going into his basement. He has a garage door. If you look to the west side of the house, there's a man door and a garage door there. We're proposing to block them up, and then we'll fill to the top of those that dotted line there, and which is plus or minus the same height as that berm. So we won't be touching any vegetation. The only area that'll be disturbed will be the existing paved driveway.
Oh, so one question I have for you is the straw wattles. How far are those away from the wetland?
They're probably 25 to 30 feet away, probably 30 feet away, depending on, where you're measuring from. Some spots, I would say it averages 30 feet. And we're probably 40 to 60 feet away from the edge of the wetlands with the driveway.
I'm sorry, would you say how far the driveway edge of the pavement is? Again?
50, 60 feet. Again, it's depending on where you're measuring, but I would say it averages 50 feet.
Okay. Thank you for that. Chris, you have your hand up?
Yeah, I'm looking at a picture, and actually an image, not a a picture with a car in the driveway. Does that help depict the issue? there's water in the driveway? Is this,
Yeah, I don't see that picture, but yes, there's been 3 feet of water in that driveway.
okay, so help me understand what the solution, is this to get rid of the puddling?
Yes, so basically what's happening is, so all the water, see that berm is there because if you take the berm away, the water from the drainage swale now comes into the driveway and into his house. So that berm was put there years ago to stop the water from getting into the driveway. Well, the problem is now that the water, that berm is doing what it's supposed to, but it's also not allowing any of the surface water from around the house down that,
Yeah,
so it's trapping it there.
got it.
So we're proposing to remove that driveway, the impervious surface of the driveway, block up those 2 doors that are on that end of the house, and filling is basically just raising his driveway up to the top of that berm, so that then any water that comes down, rather than going into his house, puddling right there, and then he has to sump pump it over that berm, this here, it all kind of naturally filters through the grass and goes off into that drainage swale and not into his basement.
And so for the removed asphalt, will that be removed and disposed of off-site?
Yes, so we're going to remove all the asphalt, dispose of it off-site, put some new gravel down, raise it up, and then instead of paving, we're just gonna put regrinds down so that that's obviously a porous material, so the water that's hits the driveway should filter down through and everything else should run off as it has in the past, except it won't accumulate in his driveway.
Okay, thank you. Jenny, I think you and or Mike had an opportunity to go visit that site. Did you have some photos that you could share for those of us that haven't had an opportunity to visit?
I do have photos. I'm actually trying to send them to myself right now. I believe. Yep, I found them. So give me 20 seconds. I'm gonna send them to my
Okay.
Bloomberg account.
While
but
you go ahead.
While I'm doing that, to say we did walk the site, and I think that a pervious surface there would be a huge improvement over what's happening now. But let me share these pictures. I can share my screen. Okay, can you see this?
Yes.
Okay, so this was when we were there. So this is the berm. And then you can see they have some pumps running here because it's backing up to their doors of their garage. It's very filled up here in the driveway area going toward the berm. And then this is kind of looking, the top of it is looking toward the street. And then this is looking from, so, or maybe, yeah, it does fill up all the way, it looks like, to their garage door, so they have to keep that blocked. And then this is what it looks like, right now it's all paved. And then that's it for my pictures.
Oh, okay, so you don't have any of the wetland behind there or anything like that?
No, I just have pictures of across the street. I don't have anything. You can't really see the wetland behind there from this vantage point. So It's all grown up. I know there is like a culvert over on the left, but this is all grown up in front of it.
Okay,
So you can see like in the back here, it's pretty grown up. So it looks like you really can just see the vegetation.
okay. Sophie, you had your hand raised.
I do have photos, I think, of what you might be looking for.
That would be great. While you're looking for those, Rich,
Thanks. I did just have a couple quick questions. Bob, how much fill are you bringing in to level that off?
Roughly 100 yards.
Okay, and is it gonna be like run gravel, or what are you proposing to use for the fill?
Yep, so there's 2 feet of just common fill, and then we're gonna have a foot to a foot and a half of bank run gravel, and then another 6 inches of regrinds on top of that.
Okay, now I just want to make sure that we're not just throwing any old
Yeah, no,
roadside.
yeah,
there, so I want-
no tires,
Okay.
no tires and bumpers.
So I'm on my phone, so I don't have access to the plan. Do you have anything proposed? Like a little hedgerow of forsythia or something before you get to the edge of the slope where it runs down into the drain? My only fear is if we don't have some sort of block, say 5 or 6 feet before you get to the edge of the slope, plowing, regrinds, you'll be pushing that stuff off into the drainage ditch. So I just want to see if we have, I would recommend a little bit of protection to stop activity 5 or 6 feet before you get to the edge of the slope. But other
Yeah.
than that, it's kind of a no-win situation, the way that it was designed originally. So, I mean,
Right.
it's making the best of a bad situation. So those
Yes.
are my questions, Madam Chair.
Yeah, the vegetation, Rich, kind of already grows right to the top of that berm now, so yeah, I mean, there's kind of a whole jungle back there that goes right to that berm, so there isn't much of a chance of getting too much farther past the top of that berm, even if you wanted to.
Okay, yeah, I mean, you understand plowing.
Yep, definitely.
Don't want to be pushing them over the edge, so you
Yep.
want to have something that's a natural block that says we stop 3 feet before we get to the edge. So
Yep.
that's all.
Yep.
Thank you.
okay, thank you, Sophie. Where's the house relative to this photo?
To the left. I
To the
think
left?
if you're looking to the left of that swale, you see that dark area, that's part of the berm. So if you
Okay.
go, so the house is, kind of to the left beyond that. Yeah, that's what it looks like from there.
That would be correct.
Yeah. So isn't that culvert pipe at the far end of that photo?
Yes, I believe, I'm not sure which direction I was facing. I think the
Yeah.
culvert is down this way,
Yep.
but it's fairly close. I think those are the only images that I have closest to the culvert.
Okay, the one you just showed, maybe the middle one, it seemed to show that berm was kind of bare. It looked like there was exposed soil showing. What time of year did you take those photos? Was it recent or was it some time ago?
It wasn't super recent. One moment, I can actually look at the photo and pull up the exact date. Because technology is sometimes works in our favor. May 9th.
Okay, so we would expect it to be vegetated. And Sophie, in your site walk, does it appear in your estimation that the the driveway is 50 to 60 feet away from the drainage ditch area from the wetland?
I would say
If you don't know, that's
edge of the
fine. Just
driveway,
say.
closer. It might actually be a little bit closer.
Okay, in my opinion, that's one thing that I thought was missing from the drawing, was just some dimensions there so that we understood where the wetland was relative to the limit of work and to the driveway. And then Sophie, in your walk of that drainage ditch, does it look to be just as simple as a naturalized wetland in the ditch area, or is there anything like a bordering vegetated wetland or anything that's established back there?
There is a BVW, that's further back where there isn't proposed work. But
Okay.
there is a vegetated wetland, but it doesn't appear to be within the area in which they propose that they would be working within. The
Okay.
stream bank isn't as vegetated.
Okay. Do we have any other questions or comments from members of the commission?
Madam Chair,
Yes, Mike.
how does one bring soil right up to that garage door and that rear entrance? Will that be blocked?
I think that's what the applicant was saying. Bob, do you want to confirm?
Yes, exactly. The wooden doors will be removed from the garage and the man door. They'll be blocked in solid, and then we'll just fill up to them.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Do we have any questions or comments from members of the public? And I am seeing none. I would prefer that we get this drawing updated with the actual some kind of dimensions from the edge of the driveway to the edge of the wetland, and preferably give us some kind of dimensions on where that limit of work straw wattle would be located as well relative to the wetland. Does that sound doable, Bob?
Sure. I can get out there and take some measurements. There'll be, the terrain is not flat, so they're not going to be exact, but I mean, I'll get as close as I can.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, yeah, it seems like you got enough kind of margin of error if your estimates are right that
Yep.
we don't have to get into, what your measurement uncertainty is in this.
Right.
Okay. And for other members of the commission, if there's anything else that you would like to see from this applicant, let's let them know now so that they don't have to come before us again. And Bob, would it be okay to continue to September 4th? Does that give you enough time to get those measurements into our office?
Yes, it does. That's fine.
Okay. So it looks like I am looking for a motion to continue to September 4th.
So moved.
Second, Richard.
Thank you. Okay, roll call vote. Jenny,
Aye.
Chris,
Aye.
Mike,
Aye.
Rich,
Aye.
And I for myself. See you September 4th.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, moving along. Pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 131, Section 40 is amended in the Town of Lunenburg Wetlands Protection and Municipal Bylaws, a public hearing on behalf of the trustees of the Village of Flat Hills and a request for determination of applicability for the project proposal is for parcel number 84-001, detention pond maintenance for the area of 0 Cortlandt Circle. Do we have somebody from the trustees here with us tonight and or their engineering representative?
Yes, my name is Wayne Garapi, 32 Cortlandt Circle, Lunenburg, and I'm a trustee.
Thank you, Wayne. So
Thank you.
do we have, we were looking for, and I think last time you came before us, we didn't have that closed out yet. We were looking for a couple of things from when we held the hearing the last time. We were looking for a maintenance plan. And then we were looking for an updated drawing that had a couple of notes on it, if I recall correctly.
Yep, we dropped everything off, and I think that it's what you need.
Yeah, it's Brian Marchetti here with McCarty Engineering. I also sent Sophia a plan today. It was the as-built plan when the basin was built. So the wetland lines are highlighted, the area of work is highlighted, and there's a note just denoting where we can access the basin from Cortlandt Circle. So I have that plan. If you guys don't have it, I can share it and show you.
Yeah, Brian, why don't you just go ahead and show us just to expedite things.
Okay.
Thank you, Brian.
Yep, you're welcome. So you can see here on the plan, I highlighted in green, this is the edge of wetlands. So this is Cortlandt Circle here. So this is the subdivision roadway. And right at the intersection of Flat Hill and Cortlandt is where the pink area is here. That is the detention basin. So that's the basin that they're proposing to perform maintenance on. The wetlands are on the opposite side of the berm. This is a hand-drawn as-built, so you know, it is approximate, but you can see the basin is here at the corner of Flat Hill Road, Cortlandt Circle, so all access will be right here off of Cortlandt Circle. So there won't be any vehicles required to drive through or damage a wetland or any of the adjacent resource areas. And the plan is just to come into the basin here with a backhoe or mini excavator, you know, grub out all the sediment that's built up in the bottom of the basin, you know, haul that away and kind of reestablish the basin grades that were intended back when this was designed in order to get the volume back. One of the questions that you had posed is where was the material that we dig out going to go? Alpha and gravel is going to take that back to their yard. Typically with stuff like this, they lay it out and leave it to dry in an area, and eventually it's just mixed back with their general fill. It's not a select material by any means, it's just a general fill that would go in big fill types. So it's a dry gravel material it's mixed with, so it'll be a very dry material. And you know, where if any of the seeds do survive, it's going to be well below grade and not anywhere that's wet that, you know, it would have an opportunity to come in. So beyond this information, I believe you had asked for the maintenance agreement. That was part of the order of conditions. That was recorded way back early 2000s. That was part of the package that Wayne had submitted back to you.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that was the extent of what you guys had asked for.
That's consistent with my notes as well.
Yep.
Great.
And again, the maintenance was in the order, and it did say on the order, you know, those conditions would continue in perpetuity. So, you know, so I believe maintenance of this was included in the previous order of conditions. and, is an expected task that should be done on a regular basis.
And,
So,
and forgive me for interrupting.
yep, no problem.
We intend to do the maintenance moving forward and season by season, whatever it needs, we're committed to maintaining it and keeping it at the as-built level.
Okay, and Sophie, you have those materials in the office, yes?
Yes, I do. I scanned in copies.
Excellent. Do we have any questions or comments from members of the commission? Any questions or comments from members of the public? Okay, I think I'm looking for a motion here.
Madam
So
Chair,
moved.
motion to approve as submitted. Richard?
Second, Mike?
Thank you, Mike. Thank you, Rich. Roll call vote. Chris,
Aye.
Jenny,
Aye.
Mike,
Aye.
Rich,
Aye.
and I for myself.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you all. Moving along.
Thank you so much.
Very good. Pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 131, Section 40, as amended in the Town of Lunenburg Wetlands Protection and Municipal Bylaws, a public hearing for a request for determination for PJ Keating Company for a proposed project replacement and maintenance work connected to an existing pump house. The location is within 100 feet of a bordering vegetative wetland and a priority habitat number 1738 related to 495 Leominster Shirley Road. Do we have the applicant and or their representative here tonight?
Madam Chair, Greg Roy with Dillison Roy. I'm representing the applicant this evening.
Thank you, Greg.
And I think that Ken Dow and is also here as a representative from PJ Keating as well, at least Ken. So if I may share my screen.
Yes, please.
Yes, I am here.
Thanks, Ken. Bear with me here. I'll share my screen, and I think I can make this pretty brief.
We like brevity.
I'll do the best I can. Okay, so we met on this maybe as many as 2 months ago, 6 weeks to 8 weeks ago. Or maybe it was a little more recently, but let me share the site plan just to familiarize everybody. So the site again, it's at 495 Leominster Shirley Road. Perhaps not the portion of PJ Keating that everybody is accustomed to right on Reservoir Road. This site is adjacent to the new large warehouse facility that was constructed off of Leominster Shirley Road. They're really just proposing to put an addition, a modest size 12 by 18.5 foot addition to an existing pump house in for the purpose of installing and housing a new well that they are required for their process operations. There were two things that we're waiting on. We had filed a request for the work to be considered exempt under the Massachusetts Endangered Species Act. The National Heritage and Endangered Species Program indicated that while the construction of the building was exempt, there was sort of a the actual physical construction of the well was not exempt. So we ended up filing a project review checklist a little over maybe 6 weeks ago with the Natural Heritage and Endangered Species Program. And just on Monday, well, I guess it was the 20th, maybe it was yesterday, we received a determination that the work would not result in a take of endangered species. So we received a favorable determination from NHESP, Natural Heritage and Endangered Species Program. So I think that checks that. That was the major box I think that the commission was waiting for. If you recall, we had asked that you act independently of that, anticipating that that would be the result, but we understand that you wanted to wait until that came through. The only other thing that we, and I apologize, this happened in the 11th hour yesterday. It dawned on me that you had asked us to show the construction material storage area on the plan. So I did revise the plan last night and send it over to Sophia this morning, showing that we have an area within the limits of the existing gravel drive where we intend to do construction material storage, just showing that we're keeping it as far away from the resource area as possible on the opposite side of the building, on the upgradient side of the site, as far away as we can within the cleared area. We don't anticipate this work to take very long, so we don't anticipate a lot of lengthy storage of materials on the site. But I think that's all, Madam Chair. Happy to take any questions.
Greg, in that favorable determination by NHESP, were there any extra conditions that they imposed?
There were
on you?
not.
Okay.
There were not. I have that here. So their standard paragraph relative to the Wetlands Protection Act, they have it in bold here, will not adversely affect the actual resource area habitat. So that's the key point. And then under the Massachusetts Endangered Species Act, you have here that the project is currently proposed will not result in a prohibited take of state listed rare species. If there were to have been conditions, that would have said can be conditioned to result in no take. So there were no, this was not what we would known as a conditional no take. It was just a no take letter. So
Excellent.
sort of the lowest bar. Yeah.
Do we have any questions or comments from members of the commission? Greg's covered all the points that I was tracking. Do we have any questions or comments from members of the public? Okay, I think I'm looking for a motion here.
Chris, motion to approve.
Second, Mike.
Thank you, Mike and Chris. Roll call vote. Mike,
Aye.
Chris,
Aye.
Jenny,
Aye.
Rich,
Aye.
and I for myself.
Thank you very much. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time. Appreciate it.
Okay, moving along, we will not hear 390 Howard Street. That one had already been voted on and continued to September 4th. Next up is pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 131, Section 40 is amended in the Town of Lunenburg Wetlands Protection and Municipal Bylaws. A public hearing on a notice of intent by Steve Powell for the construction of a single family and associated site work at 171 Arbor Street. DP number 2081308. Do we have Steve and or his representative here with us tonight? Oh, I don't see him on the line. Wasn't that also Brian?
Yeah, yeah, it
Brian's
was,
firm?
yeah, that's Brian's.
Okay, I think he for whatever reason didn't anticipate needing to speak to this tonight. Maybe they got their calendar cross-wired with ours on when it was continued to.
Yeah.
Okay, well, with the applicant not here, the default expectation is that it's continued to the next meeting, which is September 4th.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
I do have Brian's cell phone. Just give me a minute to
Okay.
just give a quick call. If we
Okay.
want, we can continue this until further in the meeting, just so we can continue on our agenda.
Okay, yeah, let's do that, Rich. Thank you so much.
Do I make a motion, we continue to later in the meeting?
Yeah, that sounds good. Somebody second that motion?
Second,
Roll call vote. Jenny?
I don't think I can vote even for that, can I?
Oh, no, it's, it predates you. Rich,
Aye.
Mike,
Aye.
Chris,
aye.
and I for myself. Actually, technically, Jenny, I think I could have had you vote just on continuing it for later in the agenda. But an actual approval vote is what I think I wouldn't be able to, use you for.
Okay,
But it doesn't matter. We got there anyway.
yeah.
So we'll move along while Rich does that in the background. Administrative determinations, 37 Fire Road 19. Sophie?
Yes, so at the last meeting, it was discussed, it was supposed to be discussed as a e-certification. But however, they already did the work, and so now I just had it on the agenda as a retroactive after the fact administrative determination. This was tree work that was encroaching on power lines. So it was important for that to be taken care of.
And your recommendation there was that we would approve it retroactively?
Correct.
Okay, do we have any questions or comments from members of the commission? And we have a motion.
Chris, motion. So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mike.
Mike.
Roll call vote. Jenny,
Aye.
Chris,
Aye.
Mike,
Aye.
Rich. Rich, I think, is preoccupied on the phone.
Aye.
Oh, thank you, Rich, and I for myself. Okay, that's approved retroactively. Okay, moving along, certificates of compliance. Sophie, you want to take us through these?
Yes, so for 1325 Mass Ave, there are a couple different phases to that project. There was a basin that was supposed to function as stormwater mitigation, and there were images, and I went to the site and made sure that everything was established in that area within the buffer zone. And it does appear established. There was one concern with some erosion starting in one area. However, that is included in the more long-term operation and maintenance schedule within that area. So I would approve the 1325 Mass Ave.
Okay, do we have any questions or concerns from members of the commission? Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved, Richard.
Thank you, Rich. Thank you, Jenny. Roll call vote, Chris,
Aye.
Jenny,
Aye.
Mike,
Aye.
Rich.
Aye.
And I for myself. Okay, Sophie, next, Round Road.
Actually, Madam Chair, while I did get a hold of Brian, and
Yeah.
I'd like motion to continue the Arbor Street hearing until September 18th at the request of the applicant.
Okay, very good. Thank you. So do I have a motion by the commission to continue 171 Arbor Street to September 18th?
So moved.
Chris. Yep.
Okay, I'm
Second,
gonna say, yep, motion by Rich and second by Chris. Roll call vote, Jenny,
Aye.
Chris,
Aye.
Mike,
Aye.
Rich,
I,
and I for myself. Thank you. Thank you for doing that liaising, Rich. I appreciate it. Okay, Sophie, back to you. Round Road.
5 Round Road, this should also be approved. Pretty straightforward, COC.
Okay, any questions or comments by members of the commission? Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved. Mike?
Second.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you, Jenny. Roll call vote, Chris,
Aye.
Jenny,
Aye.
Mike,
Aye.
Rich,
I,
and I for myself. 141 Hemlock Drive, Sophie,
Also approve this COC.
questions or comments by members of the commission? Okay, motion to approve.
Motion to approve, Chris.
second, Richard.
Okay, Chris and Rich. Roll call vote. Jenny,
Aye.
Chris,
Aye.
Mike,
Aye.
Rich.
Aye.
And I for myself. Okay, moving along to notice of project change. Sophie?
So for 137 Flynn Road, there are some minor changes that Dillis and Roy have provided. There's some red line plans.
Oh, okay. I see Greg's still on the call here. Greg, do you want to take us through those?
Sure. Greg Roy with Dilson Roy. I'm representing the applicant. Brian and Cynthia Ritchie, they are also on the call. We had a request by the contractor to modify a couple of the proposed plantings in a few of the location changes. Essentially what we're doing here is we'd like to go with, instead of, can you all hear me okay?
Yeah, just fine.
Okay. I've been having some periodic problems over the last couple of days with Zoom, so I apologize if it breaks up. They had a total of 6 dogwoods proposed with 6 white birches, and they are proposing now to do all flowering dogwoods. So again, the same species that was approved by a commission. So we're not reducing any of the plantings. We just like to change the type, and then slightly relocate where they're going to go. And actually, maybe if I could share my screen.
Yes,
that would be
please.
easier.
That would be helpful.
Sorry about that. I was looking at my screen the whole time and I realized that you guys couldn't see it. Sorry about that. Okay. So you can see in red where we're proposing the plantings, and there's a few the red X's are where I think trees had been taken, and so we're proposing to, which were approved, by the way, by a commission originally, and we're proposing to install the proposed trees in the area we're showing in red. So by and large, fairly close to the bank, which I think would be favorable from a resource area standpoint. There's one tree down here as well that we're asking to remove. It got struck by lightning fairly recently and is fairly damaged. So we would like to remove that. It's down on this portion of the site as well. So that's really just a slight modification to the way that we're proposing to plant, but we didn't want to get permission beforehand. So we didn't have any issues.
What's the approximate size of the tree that was damaged by lightning?
I'm not sure. Brian or Cynthia, do you?
Yeah, this is Brian Ritchie with, it's probably about 35, 40 feet. But they got hit like fairly far down. It's like cracking down the center.
That's the height of it, Brian?
Yeah, that's about the height of it was like 35 feet, I'm guessing 40 feet.
What would you estimate the diameter is of the tree?
It's probably 18 inches.
Okay.
Oh, what varietal tree is it? Is it pine or what is it?
Yeah, it's a pine. That whole side was like the fifth of like 5 very large pines that were all there.
And some are still to the left of the tree.
Okay.
And the reason why we
And we're
wanted
gonna
to
be-
relocate these other trees is there's just when we went to look at putting the trees in where our original location was, there's so many other trees and root systems
Yeah.
we'd be disturbing. We're trying to relocate these where we'd be disturbing less existing trees. Is really what it's coming down
Yeah.
to.
Yeah, so the locations we're showing have been selected by the applicant's landscape contractor. So just after we looked at it and taking a look at all the existing vegetation that still remains on the site, these seem like the best spots to put the plantings. To,
Okay.
yeah, to cause the least disturbance.
Do we
And
have
I think
questions?
Yeah,
Go
sorry.
ahead.
Go ahead. Well, I was just gonna say, we don't believe there's a significant difference in terms of the intent of what was proposed for the mitigation, so.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. Do we have questions or comments from other members of the commission? Do we have any questions or comments from members of the public? I think I'm looking to approve, looking for a motion to approve this notice of change, as presented.
So moved.
Second, Mike?
Thank you, Jenny and Mike. Roll call vote. Chris,
Aye.
Rich,
Sorry about that.
thank you. Mike,
Aye.
Jenny, Jenny, if you voted, I didn't hear you.
Oh, aye. Sorry.
Thank you. And I for myself. Thank you all.
Thanks, everybody. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay, the next notice of project change, there was a slight typo in the agenda. It's 32 Pine Grove Road, not 34 as posted. And Sophie, is this something you're gonna take us through, or is the applicant on the call?
When I was speaking with Ryan Proctor, I think he mentioned that he was going to be here to talk through that.
Well,
Is-
that probably means it's on my plate. Ryan's at a different hearing tonight.
Hmm.
Are you familiar with this one, Greg? Can you take us through it?
I'm sure gonna give it a try. Hang on one second. Let me pull up the plan. I didn't have this one on my radar, so hold on one second.
It's
Give
the
me
night to
60
be
seconds.
nimble and flexible.
Yeah. Let me find the drawing real quick.
And Sophie, do you actually have like a summary of proposed changes that maybe you could get us started with?
Yeah, I do have something.
Do you have the plan, Sophie? Sophia, that you could?
Yes.
That would be great, because
Yeah.
I'm
One moment.
having a little trouble. I could find it, but I have to go and look in my database for the job number and all that stuff. So it'll take me a minute or two.
Yeah, actually, it
But I'm
might
sure
be,
I'm sure I can talk off it. If you
might
show
be in
put it on
my
the screen.
email. So I have the site plan. It's just taking a little bit to load and I have to
Yeah, it should have
zoom
some,
in.
it should have some red, you know, like we had on the previous plan. It should have some red on it.
No, I actually don't think I have
No?
the proposed, no, I think he was going to send it and I
Oh,
don't think he actually
okay.
got to it.
Well,
But
I
I
have
did
it here. I have it here. If I
I
can
have the
share my
original
screen,
site plan.
Yeah,
I have
Greg,
it
if you've
here.
got it, why don't you pull it up and
Yeah.
share with us?
I think, yep, hang on. Okay, how's that?
Okay.
All right, let me see if I can do the best I can here. So I'll start by the water. The red is what is the proposed changes, I believe. So you had approved an arced configuration of a weathered bouldered retaining wall. It looks like we're proposing to straighten that out slightly. I have to confess, I have not been coordinating with the client on this, so I'm not sure of the reasons for this, but so that's the change in this location of the site. There's 3 trees up in this location here that I believe are damaged that they're looking to pull out. Those are circled in red, so they're all dead. There's a 14, they're all deciduous in nature, probably oaks, if I recall correctly. That site was predominantly oaks, red oaks. But
Are
if
they
they're not oaks, they're
proposing
probably,
any replantings?
no, they're dead trees. So they weren't proposing any that I know of. Well, yes, let me get to that. Hang on a second. So then we on the approved plan, we had we had a hot tub shown and approved in this location just outside of the 50-foot. So this arc right here, orange arc, is the 50-foot wetland offset. We're proposing to relocate that hot tub over again outside of the 50-foot zone, but over to the side of the property. So they'd be expanding the bluestone patios slightly, putting the hot tub over here. Where we had shown this hardscaping, we're now going to be providing plantings. So that would be in part some mitigation for the loss of the dead trees. And then also behind the hot tub on both the up gradient and the on the side here, they're also proposing some additional native shrubs and plantings in that location. It does look like we have a couple of additional trees here that are dead to be removed. One's a pine. That one looks like we're listing it as decaying, so it's on the way out. And this other 12-inch, presumably an oak or a maple, is dead. So we're looking to take those out. And I think in terms of buffer zone work, that's the highlights of what they're looking to do. Yeah.
Okay. I think I'm clear on that. Sophie, you have your hand raised?
Yes, so going back down to the wall,
Yeah.
yeah, that's already done.
Oh, okay.
They proceeded to deviate from the curved plan and increased it by, I don't know, maybe a foot or a couple feet, and had a straight wall built across.
Oh, okay. So what you're saying is what they built is actually longer than what was shown on the drawing, because what they are showing on the drawing as proposed change is shorter than the original approved.
I'm not sure if the length has changed, but the shape, it's not
Okay.
concave, it's straight.
Okay. Yeah, that's what's on here. Okay.
Yeah, it looks to me like it's slightly shorter, but it's just, it was constructed in a straight manner instead of curved. So there are portions of that that would have, if it was constructed in the curved fashion, there were portions of it that would have been slightly further away from the lake, but there's also portions that would have been closer to the lake, so it's kind of looks to me like they kind of split the difference. I apologize. I did not realize that that was constructed. Again, I haven't been quite, Ryan's been working directly with the applicant on this, and I wasn't privy to that.
Okay. Sophie, anything else?
Yes, if you pan over to the right. When I was speaking with Ryan, I asked him to provide me with the square footage increase in the Bluestone patio. Since the hot tub was moved and relocated, it appeared with the red line drawing that that was an increase in impervious surface. And so I figured the commission would want those numbers. However, I didn't get those numbers yet.
Okay, thank you. And what about those trees that they're saying are dead? Are they actually dead, or are they just damaged, or what?
So the three over to the left they are deceased. However, there is the one north, the most northerly one, circled in red.
This one or over here?
On the others, yes, that one.
One.
That's closest to the stone wall. It's somewhat unhealthy. And it's pretty tall. And then the one directly next to it is a very large pine that is not healthy. It is also right in the line of where they're going to be working. Ryan said it's the critical line of construction. So they'd be actually grading out right to the root ball. So that would be one that they would want to remove because of that. And also it's tall enough that it could pose a risk to the proposed garage as well. And relocated hot tub.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Do we have
Just trying to
any
see if I can-
questions?
trying to-
Actually,
just
the
quick.
proposed shrubs, do we have a schedule of plantings for those?
We do not. Not on this plan that I can see.
One of
I
the
will
things,
say that it's been over to that
Go ahead.
site. I mean, they have done a pretty nice job. I mean, they're doing a pretty nice job with those with that landscaping package over there. So if it's in keeping with what they have installed so far, it's been a pretty, a pretty thoughtful landscape project with native, native type vegetation, but I don't have a schedule for you, unfortunately.
one of the things that gives me pause about proposing plantings to compensate for a loss of habitat, even for dead habitat, is when it's outside of the 50, then we're compromising a protected area for an unprotected area. So that's not, we kind of need to do it within the same protection so that it's a long-term compensation. Anyway, that's my only comment there. Do we have questions or comments from members of the commission? Everybody's quiet tonight.
Yeah, only that I echo what you just said, Mary. I had the same observation, so.
Do we have any questions or comments from members of the public? And are we in a position to consider moving this forward tonight? Or are we looking for the square footage and the schedule of shrubs from the applicant?
Well, my opinion is I can kind of extrapolate how much they're putting in. I can get an idea. What I don't know is if that's acceptable. So I'm looking at fellow commissioners to weigh in on, adding that bluestone. Is that, is that acceptable?
It's outside of the 50, so from my
Yeah.
my perspective, I'm not really concerned so much about that.
So based on that, I'm okay to approve.
And are you willing to make it a motion, Chris?
Yes, I'll motion to approve. Yes.
Do I have a second?
Second, Richards.
Thanks, Rich. Roll call vote. Mike,
Aye.
Jenny,
Aye.
Rich,
Aye.
Chris,
Aye.
and I for myself.
Thanks, everybody. Sorry that I was a little bit unprepared for that one.
That's all right. It happens. You were juggling some balls there, so thank you.
You did good. Thank you, Greg.
All right.
Okay, moving along to our enforcement section. And I do recognize that we have Carolyn Palo still on the call, so gonna bump that 34 and 48 Meadow Lane up first within this section.
Thank you.
Carolyn, thank you for your patience.
Oh, my pleasure. I'm not sure, how much has already been discussed about this with Sophie, but basically, I'm speaking on behalf of my father, who's the owner of the home here at 42 Meadow Lane. We have concerns about wetlands, and we have for the last probably 10 years that a shelter was placed in the wetlands at 34 Meadow Lane, which is actually on the property of 48 Meadow Lane, and we are in the middle.
Carolyn, what is your address and your father's address?
It's 42 Meadow Lane.
Okay.
So behind our
Thank you for
home,
that.
sure. Behind our home is wetlands, and they're getting wetter and wetter. And we have spoken with both 48 and 34 Meadow Lane regarding the shelter, and also concerns about the mowing that's going on back there in the wetlands. The original issue with this neighbor was an adverse possession case, which we've resolved with a fence. But he has been filling in his property for a few years now, according to what we've been seeing here from this location and what some of the aerial views from the GIS mapping has also shown, as well as the mowing. And we'd like to just bring it to your attention as we've spoken about it several times, going back to when Matt Marrow was on the commission and when this shelter was first erected, probably in 2011. And it's just kind of through the cracks, and my mother was pursuing this. She passed away. My father to an extent, but they were both elderly, and they just didn't have the fortitude in septic system. The original is still here since the original 1962 when the house was built. There has been some friction, to be gracious, with this neighbor. And I can't do as much as I would like as far as cutting back the invasive vines due to a protective order he obtained through the court. And I have photos to show if that's helpful.
Yeah, hang on just a minute if you would. I think I've got the property. on the wetland map that I wanted to share. So 42 is where you live, you and your dad live, is that right?
Correct.
And then 34 is the adjacent property that you're talking about. And then
Yes.
48 is the other adjacent property that you're talking about.
Yeah, so 48 owns the property behind our homes on Meadow Lane.
Okay. Okay, and so then this is the kind of proximity of the wetland that, you know, and these mass mapper things are not always up to date, which is why we have to get live and accurate delineations done. But it gives everybody kind of an idea of the proximity to the wetlands in the area that we're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and then presumably this is the shelter that you're discussing?
If it's visible, I have another aerial photo if that's helpful, along with some just regular photos from our window. Yeah, that's it right there.
Okay.
The problem also is that these are wetlands. He had the neighbors
Carolyn, if you're still talking, you dropped out.
deposit all of their yard waste. Oh, can you hear me now?
I can, yeah. But you
Okay,
started
sorry.
out with a problem and then there was a long silence. So if you could repeat that part.
Sure. So the problem that my parents initiated was that he was inviting the neighbors to dump their yard waste into the wetland in order to create the foundation for this shelter. And the building permit is for 34 Meadow Lane, not 48 Meadow Lane. It's also, when I spoke with the building inspector at the time, Mike Savaggio, he said that the resident had permission from 48 Meadow Lane at the time to erect this structure, and there was nothing he could do. But he did say he felt there was a wetlands violation. I believe Jan Carrier was the conservation commissioner at the time and signed off on this. But I think she did not realize that it was not on 34 Meadow Lane's property. It was on 48 Meadow Lane's property and in the wetlands, as far as we can see.
Okay. And does does 34 Meadow Lane currently have permission from 48 Meadow Lane for that shelter?
It is a little bit unclear to me because the ownership had changed in 2015. The previous owner told me he was told to remove it so that he could get.
You're breaking up again.
Pretty ready for sale, and he didn't want any. Probably clear. Hear me now? Connection is unstable. A moment.
You might want to turn off your video. It might help with your.
Yeah,
let me do that.
video a lot of times will mess things up.
Is that better?
So far, so good.
Okay, sorry about that. So
Why don't
my
I let you
understanding
share also because I would be interested in also knowing where the mowing is happening as well.
Sure. Let's see. Do I have screen sharing?
Right now, we're seeing your whole screen, so all you have to do is open up a picture. I think you'll be good.
Mm-hmm. Let's see.
She froze.
Indeed. And she dropped, so maybe she's gonna dial right back in, hopefully. Sophie, while we're waiting for her to dial back in, do we have any updates on any other enforcements or violations that maybe you could fill us in on while we're waiting for Carolyn to join us back?
Yes and no. The only one I have relative update on is 45 Road 12. In which I met with town council today and had a brief discussion. I know that it was discussed at a prior meeting that it might be advisable to obtain a letter, to have Adam Costa send a letter to the applicants, basically an enforcement or a violation. Or the other alternative was to have them file a new NOI, or to seek an extension. So those options were discussed, but really he left it up to the commission to decide if they want staff such as myself to issue an enforcement order at this point, seeing how the previous violation letters have not produced much much of an outcome with completing what should have been done prior to the expiration date.
So our alternatives are to allow them to request an extension, allow them to refile, or issue violations and fines.
That's correct.
And he didn't have a recommendation one way or the other.
No, not necessarily. He said, as you know, the other option was he could draft a letter, another letter. However, didn't seem that was might
And as
not
the
be
current,
productive.
oh, go ahead. Okay, yeah. And does the current OOC OOC, is it expired yet?
Yes, I believe it was mid-July.
Okay, well, we can't extend if it's already expired, right?
That so technically, by law, the applicants have 30 days prior to the expiration date to request an extension. However, I believe in the past, commissions have overlooked that in certain circumstances. So that is why I had that as an option, however, not advisable in this situation in particular.
Okay.
If you're looking for my advice, I would advise an enforcement order at this point.
Okay, Carolyn, I noticed that you just joined. We moved on to do some other business and we'll come right back to you shortly. Okay, we're just going to close out this other thing. And I understand that you were having technical difficulties. It happens to us all. So just give us a minute here. So with 40 Fire Road, do we have questions or comments by members of the commission? And if we don't have general questions or comments, I'm just gonna poll, round robin. Rich, what are your thoughts about this one? And we lost Rich maybe. Okay, Mike, I'll move along to you.
Yeah, I would go with Sophie's best, since she's been involved in this, whatever she feels is the next best step, I would go with that.
Okay, what are your thoughts, Chris?
The same. I'll defer to Sophie.
Okay, Jenny, what are your thoughts?
Same. I would also defer to Sophie.
Okay, and Rich, are you back with us or still otherwise detained?
Sorry about that. For some reason, my audio keeps dropping. No, generally, if it is expired, we really can't extend it at that point. So I would agree with Sophie on just issuing an enforcement order and working under that.
Okay, I'm inclined to follow the majority here on this one. I assume that we're gonna have to take a motion on this. So can I have a motion and let's vote?
So moved.
Thank you, Jenny.
Second, Mike?
Thank you, Mike. Roll call vote. Chris,
Aye.
Jenny,
Aye.
Mike,
Aye.
Rich,
Aye.
and I for myself. Okay, Carolyn, thanks for giving us a minute to wrap that one up so we could circle back to you.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it.
Okay, getting back to where we are, do you have photos that you can share with us? I was interested in the mowing that you were referring to.
Yes, let me try that again. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, so here is our home with the blue arrow. Here is the shed. Here is the mowing.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
And the mowing's happening because I believe this is a tree stand.
Okay.
And this person is a bow hunter. Oh.
Okay.
It's saying my internet is unstable, so I hope I don't lose you again.
And Sophie, have you had an opportunity to go out and visit this site?
I have not yet. But I was
So
given
look-
permission.
Okay, and you were given permission by all of the parcel owners involved?
No, just Carolyn Paolo.
Okay. From looking at Mass Mapper and the wetland delineation there, it looks like this mowed area is within the wetland. So I think it would be important to validate where the wetland is. And you know, you can approach, I think you probably need to approach both of these parcel owners, 34 and 38. It looks like it would be easier to get to this mowed area from the parcel at 34, but it does look like the mowed area is on the parcel owned by 48. Do we have questions or comments from other members of the commission? Carolyn, I'll also have to say out loud, our jurisdiction is a wetland, period. And
Yes.
we have no jurisdiction over, you know, if one person is putting, you know, or putting structures on somebody else's parcel or encroaching or any of those matters, that's outside of our jurisdiction. Our jurisdiction is only the wetland. And so,
I understand.
yeah,
Yeah,
and
I think my concern was that the wetlands
say that again. Yeah, I think that,
my concern was the wetlands had been filled in to put up this, so
yeah, and the other thing that we have a challenge with is this goes back some time. And while I understand that you know, your parents have tried to chase this over some time, we really can only deliberate over what's in front of us right now. And
understood.
we do have a time limit on how far back we can go to you know, rule on something that was done in the past, but things that are actively happening now, we do have jurisdiction over, if it's, comes under the jurisdiction of the Wetland Protection Act.
Hmm. I understand.
Okay, so I think our next steps, and the only next steps that we can take, is to attempt to validate if there's actually a current wetland violation happening out there.
Hmm.
So Sophie, we'll leave that in your capable hands.
Okay, I will try to contact the homeowner.
Okay. All right, thank you. We will move along. Thank you, Carolyn.
Thanks for the time. I appreciate it. Sorry for the technical problem.
It happens. It happens to all of us. No worries. Okay, and Sophie, I think that was it for violations and enforcement actions tonight. No updates on 10 Mass
Yes.
Ave?
Nope, nothing else.
Okay. All right, we'll go along to new business. Do we have any topics that have just come up in the last 48 hours? Hear none. I have no update on title searches. I also don't have any updates on encroachment issues. Do have an update on the Lunenburg Conservation Commission Mass Trails Grant. Bob has still been doing a lot of volunteer work for us in this area, which I very much appreciate. So he let me know that last night the select board voted to approve our request for ARPA funds to provide us the matching funds for our Mass Trails Grant. The matching funds are $15,450.55. And so that's excellent news because our tree funds that we originally voted to approve those matching funds out of are getting a little bit lean. So that's one update. Then the second thing is we were able to award the business, assuming we vote to approve it, via horizontal engineering to Dillis and Roy. They provided us proposals that came within the budget of the original grant as proposed to Mass Trails. There are 4 projects there that we're proposing to award to Dillis and Roy for a total of $63,045.00. Mass Trails will fund 80% of that. Lunenburg Conservation Commission will fund 20% of that, and that's where that 15,000 ARPA funds comes from. I am looking for a vote tonight to approve awarding this business to Dilson Roy. And certainly, guys, I'm really well familiar with this grant proposal because I wrote it. If you you guys that are more at arm's length want more details about what's proposed and what Dilson Roy will be doing for us, please let me know and I will fill you in. Other than that, I'm looking for a motion to approve.
So moved, Mike?
Thank you,
Second.
Mike. Thank you, Jenny. Roll call vote, Chris,
Aye.
Jenny,
Aye.
Mike,
Aye.
Rich,
Aye.
and I for myself. Thank you all. I don't have any, we'll move along. I don't have any updates on the Snow Rider grant. Mike, we'll move along to Hollis Road residents. Any updates there?
Only thing, is that mowing is continuing this summer as planned. Everything looks good. And it's one of our gems of Lunenburg. If anyone has a chance to walk the pathways at the pollinator habitat, you'll be as amazed as I am. And nothing more. I did connect with Don Gagney at the facilities department. I understand that Chris Ruth is back from his paternity leave. And I asked the question about any further, they have not found cabinets yet. We were hoping perhaps to secure some used cabinets so we could pursue the kitchen at 123 Hollis Road, but that has not materialized yet. So hopefully we will continue to search for used cabinetry so we can improve the kitchen there.
Very good. Thank you, Mike.
Okay.
Jenny, any updates from stormwater?
We have not met since the last meeting. And we
Okay,
don't
very good.
scheduled as of yet for this month, so hopefully next week.
And I don't have any updates from open space either. Okay, do we have any other closing comments from members of the commission? Oh, Carolyn, your hand's raised. Just now I'm noticing that.
I just had a question regarding the pollinator habitat.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
So I'm building a smaller version, much smaller version of a butterfly pollinator habitat here, and I'm just wondering. I know Virginia was managing the habitat for a while, and I was just wondering, are we able to get seeds at all to try and grow in our own property from there?
I'm sure Virginia would have some seeds for that purpose. You'd certainly have to ask her.
Okay. I didn't know if they would.
I'm sure she'd
Sorry.
love a call from you.
Okay, all right, I'll get in
And
touch.
if she doesn't have them, she should certainly direct you to someone who might have some seeds for you.
Okay. That'll be great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Excellent. Jenny, you had a comment.
So if there is no seed program through the pollinator habitat, the Worcester Native Plant Initiative does a lot of seed events throughout the winter for like winter sowing, and they would be another thing that you could reach out to for that if you were looking for seeds.
Great, thank you.
Okay, any other questions or comments from members of the commission? It is 8:41. I am looking for a motion to adjourn.
So moved, Chris.
Second.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you, Jenny. Roll call vote. Rich, We lost Rich again. Oh, there he is. Was that an aye?
That was an.
All right, Mike,
Aye.
Chris,
Aye.
Jenny.
Aye,
All right, good night, folks. Thank you.
Night,
Thank
everyone.
you.
thank you.